Here's a story that probably sounds familiar. A public hearing for a proposed concrete batch between Sherman and Howe is happening tomorrow. The meeting will take place at the Kidd-Key Auditorium in Sherman at 6. Residents will be allowed to speak at this hearing. This is the second hearing for the proposed batch by the same North Texas-based company. Of course, News 12 will be at that meeting to bring you all of the latest updates.